with the Lebanese Youth Committee, inshallah. Just a couple of rules. Just please keep your children with you at all times. If you do not want to have them beside you, we do have a program for kids held at the gym, I believe, and the mother's room. Inshallah ta'ala. We do have a ladies youth program, or youth program? Youth, ladies Q&A session after the main program. We'll give it like a 10-minute break, and then you guys will have the Q&A session with Sheikh Moutaz, inshallah. Let us all please welcome Samahat Sheikh Moutaz Al-Wehwah with 3 of your loudest of salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
إلى أرواح موتى المؤمنين وموتى الحاضرين، إلى أرواح مراجعنا العظام، لا سيما السيد الإمام روح الله الموسوي الخميني قدس سره الشريف، إلى أرواح شهدائنا، شهداء الإسلام، شهداء الدفاع المقدس، شهداء على طريق القدس. رحم الله من قرأ السورة المباركة الفاتحة مسبوقة بالصلاة على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والحمد لله رب العالمين، وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين، حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا، سيدنا ومولانا أبا القاسم محمد عليه وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين، لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين، روح وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفدا، واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين منذ آدم إلى قيام يوم الدين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. قال تعالى في محكم التنزيل بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم: قل إن الموت الذي تفرون منه فإنه ملاقيكم ثم تردون إلى عالم الغيب والشهادة فينبئكم بما كنتم تعملون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Allah Ta'ala says in Surah Al-Jumu'ah, ayah number 8, say, as for the death from which you flee, that will surely overtake you. Then you shall be sent back to the knower of the unseen and the seen, and he will inform you of that which you did. Sadaqallahu al-Aliyyul Azim. Finishing off with Nabiullah Isa alayhi salam, and just looking into the last aspect of his life, salamullahi alayhi, that we want to take from, inshallah. One of the miracles that Isa alayhi salam was known for, or that made him distinguished amongst other prophets and messengers of Allah, is the miracle that Allah Ta'ala gave him, that by the will of Allah, he, salamullahi alayhi, was able to resurrect the dead. He was able to resurrect the dead. And this is a miracle which is mentioned in the Holy Quran and mentioned in the New Testament. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. This miracle is a miracle that ourselves and our Christian brothers and sisters, we agree upon. There are some miracles that we disagree on. For example, the miracle that, or the first miracle that is claimed by our Christian brothers and sisters, the turning of water to wine. Islam does not agree with this miracle. We do not claim that, or we do not agree that this miracle occurred or that it is even a miracle. Simply because, first of all, wine is seen as it's seen as Iblis's tool. Intoxication is not something which is a merit. Therefore, it is not befitting for a Prophet of Allah to be providing intoxicants to the believers. Okay? Even if we were to argue that in the previous Sharia, it was something that was permissible, it was not something that was encouraged. So the idea that a messenger of Allah, let alone God himself, as claimed by our Christian brothers and sisters, his first miracle on the scene would be to provide intoxicants. He's not a bartender, okay? And if we look at how this supposed miracle occurs in the New Testament, and that Isa alayhi salam and his mother Maryam salamullahi alayha are at the wedding of Maryam's cousin. It's a wedding party. And in the custom of the Israelites, the father of the bride would be responsible for providing the wine at the party. And it was seen as shameful if you did not provide enough wine. So Maryam alayhi salam comes rushing to Isa, complaining to him, saying to him, basically, our family has been embarrassed, we are out of wine. Okay, she's panicking. This is Maryam alayhi salam. This is Al-Batul al-Muqaddasa. Yeah? She's concerned and she's panicking that the family is going to be embarrassed because there is no wine. So she asks from Isa alayhi salam to do something. This is Isa's miraculous introduction. This is where he is introducing his ministry to the world. It is introduced at this party. And look at the response of Isa alayhi salam. He says to his mother, "O ye woman of weak faith." Isa, this is how he speaks to his mother. He calls her a woman of weak faith. And he says to her, "Bring me water, barrels of water," and he turns them into wine. And Isa alayhi salam, all of a sudden here, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, becomes a bartender, and now he's the life of the party. Okay? In Islam, we elevate Isa alayhi salam far beyond this. The miracles of Isa salamullahi alayhi have everything to do with life. The Holy Quran tells us by the will of Allah, Isa salamullahi alayhi takes clay and forms a bird. And by the will of Allah blows into this bird, into this clay bird, and it becomes a living creature. That by the will of Allah He cures the blind and the leper. And that by the will of Allah He raises the dead. Our narrations say to us 4 times did Isa alayhi salam, or 3 times did he bring back the dead. One is Lazarus, whose story is mentioned in the New Testament. Isa salamullahi alayhi brings him back to life. Second is the daughter of Ezra. Our narrations say to us a young girl, 15 or so years old, dies, and Isa alayhi salam brings her back to life. Third one is the most interesting one. The third one, Isa alayhi salam brings back to life Sam bin Nuh, according to our narrations alayhi salam. Sam, the son of Nabiullah Nuh. Imagine that. Who had been dead for over 2,000 years at this time, if not more. He goes, the narration says in Biharul Anwar, that Isa alayhi salam goes to the grave of Sam bin Nuh, and by reciting Al-Ism al-A'zam, the grand name of Allah Ta'ala, Isa alayhi salam says to Sam, Qum, rise from the dead. And Sam rises from his grave. And then there's some details in the narration like that only half of Sam's hair was grey. And Isa alayhi salam explains that Sam, at his time, human beings lived. Don't forget, he's the son of Nuh alayhi salam, who lived for over 2,000 years. He says that Sam was a young man when he had died. He was only 500 years old. Okay? That Sam was a young man when he had died. He was only 500 years old. And this goes in hand in hand with the verse in the Holy Quran where Allah Ta'ala says, when He speaks to us about previous generations, He says, and they lived on it much longer than you lived on it, as in the earth. So the lifespan of the human being had decreased over time. When Sam wakes up, the first thing he says to Isa alayhi salam, أقامت القيامة. Has Judgment Day come? And Isa alayhi salam says no. In one version of the narration, Isa alayhi salam says to Sam, do you know me? Do you know who I am? He says, yes, you are the Prophet of Allah, Isa the son of Maryam. And he says to him, describe for me the pains of death. And he says to him, Ya Isa, it is horrifying. And we deemed ourselves pious. Then he says to Sam, Sam, would you like to return to the earth? He says, no, Ya Isa, I do not wish to return to the earth. He says, why? According to this narration, he says, because we see its youth and its women folk and the corruption that has taken place. Then he says to him, Sam, would you like to return to death? He says to him, under one condition, Ya Isa, that Allah Ta'ala spares me the agony of death. I cannot live it again. So Isa alayhi salam performs tawassul for Sam, the narration says, and Sam returns to his slumber. Death, brothers and sisters, when we look at it from an Islamic perspective, and inshallah I chose to discuss this matter on my final night here, inshallah, maybe so. Well, first of all, from popular demand, many are very interested in this subject. But also, because this is our final night, so I thought it would be appropriate to discuss the final stage of our existence on this earth, which is Al-Maut. When we look at Al-Maut, death, from a materialistic perspective, it represents the end. It represents the end of all things. And this is how the material world will interpret it for us. That all we have is this one life, and there is nothing more to it. What you see is what you get, right? And most of us, especially out here in the West, we live by this silly slogan, you only live once. Correct? This is all you've got. You've got just this life. There's nothing before it and there's nothing after it. Islam views death and life, both of them, as creations of Allah Ta'ala. Allah Ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, it is He who has created life and death. Created. Death is a creation of Allah Ta'ala. It is not absence of life. Yeah? It is not amr adami. It's not adam al-hayat. Okay? It's not like darkness. Darkness is the absence of light. Death is not the absence of life. Death exists side by side with life from an Islamic philosophy. Just as life is a creation of Allah Ta'ala, so is death. What is the purpose of death? Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, he says, Al-Mawtu Babul Akhirah. Death is simply the door to the Akhirah. This is all death is. So what Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam is saying to us in fact here, that death is the beginning of true life. Real life. In fact, the Holy Quran says to us that when you enter this realm of death, your eyesight is now steel. This is what the angels say to you. Meaning you will begin to see from here on, you will begin to see things for what they really are. You will begin to see things for their reality. The veils of this dunya, the veils of our sins, the veils of our ignorance, once we enter death, the realm of death, they are lifted. Death in the Holy Quran is dealt with in the most logical of manners. Allah Ta'ala, there is no book that I have come across at the very least, no religious scripture, whether it be the Old Testament or the New Testament or the Talmud, that emphasizes or that repeats the notion of death as much as the Holy Quran. Over 70 times Allah Ta'ala speaks of death in the Holy Quran. And when He speaks of death, He Ta'ala speaks of it as a reminder. He is reminding us humans that what is the matter with you? None before you were eternal on this earth. What makes you behave in such a manner that you think you will not depart this dunya? What makes you think that you are exempt from the rule? In a narration it said that I am astonished at man who daily sees death, yet he is ignorant of it. Daily we see our loved ones depart this dunya. We see death all around us. We see family members, friends, neighbors, relatives. We see it daily. We attend this janazah, we attend the azah, we sit in the house, we eat the food, we discuss this person who was with us today, and all of a sudden he's not with us anymore. It's a reality that we live with. However, we go about our life like it is never going to happen to you and I. And in fact, when someone mentions death or speaks to us of it, we get uncomfortable. We don't like it. Right? We don't like it. We don't like to be reminded of it. We want to live our lives in such a manner that it does not exist. Allah Ta'ala in the Holy Quran is constantly reminding you over and over again. Until we get to the verse that we opened up with, inshallah we'll repeat it, wa salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. This verse in Surah Al-Jumu'ah perfectly describes our relationship with death whilst we are alive. Allah Ta'ala calls us out here. قُلْ إِنَّ الْمَوْتَ الَّذِي تَفِرُّونَ مِنْهُ فَإِنَّهُ مُلَاقِيكُمْ. Say, O Muhammad, that this death that you constantly run away from, Allah Ta'ala describes us as fleeing constantly from death. And if we pay attention to the way we go about our daily lives, we find that almost our entire day is spent in fleeing death. We wake up fleeing the minor death, which is sleep. We go and eat, we have breakfast so that we do not get weak and die. We go out there and we work so that we can provide for ourselves, so that we can buy the sustenance, so that we can survive, so that we do not die. We build these homes so that we are safe, so that we do not die. We take medication and we visit the doctors and the physicians and we seek medical advice so that we do not die. We wear our seat belts so that we do not die. We take all of these precautions every single day so that we don't die, right? This is what we're doing. We look both ways when we cross the street so we don't die. We make sure we don't drop any electrical appliances in the bathtub, or that our hands are dry before we touch anything electrical, any switch or so that we do not die. We avoid going to our homelands like many of us today. Many of you won't visit Lebanon today. You don't want to come visit the Sheikh in Beirut today because there's a war going on, because you do not want to die. You want me to die alone? Yeah? You send me off there and you stay here in Vancouver. So we are constantly, from the moment that we wake up until the moment we go to sleep, we are avoiding death. Subconsciously, we are avoiding death. But yet, we live in a manner like we are not going to die ever. No one likes to think about their own death. Nobody likes to sit in a majlis aza and think that one day, definitely, this is not maybe, definitely one day, this is going to be my aza. One day, this is going to be my funeral. Have you ever thought about the reason why we are so afraid of being in close proximity to a dead body, to a corpse? If someone said to you, here's $1,000, spend a night in the morgue with a dead body. Or spend the night in a room with a dead body. How many of you here would do it? You'd do it for $1,000. It's insane. It's a brave sister. Salawat ala Muhammad. Braver than most of the brothers. None of the brothers raised them. But most of us wouldn't, right? Most of us would see a dead body and flee. This reminds me of a story. One of my colleagues, he went for tabligh in one community one time. And they put him in the Husayniyah. They gave him a room in the Husayniyah. And it was in a very cold part of the world. He says, in the middle of the night, as I'm sleeping, they just bring in this corpse and they place him in the room next to me. A brother had died in the night. And they said to him, sorry, Sheikh, but this is the coldest room in the Husayniyah. And we need to keep him cold. He said, for the first time in my life, I kept Salatul Layl from 10 p.m. up until Fajr. I just didn't sleep. So how can I sleep? There's a corpse in the room with me. Yeah? Why are we afraid of a dead body? It can't harm me. It can't do anything to me. If anything, I'm the dangerous one. I'm the one that's alive. I'm the one that can function and move. I'm the one that's mobile. Right? I'm not afraid of the dead body because of what it can do to me. What scares me about a corpse, about a dead body, about the cemetery at night is not the ghost stories. What scares me is the reminder of the inevitable. This is what scares me. Because when I see the corpse, I see myself. Your body and your ruh, they know automatically, this is me one day. Most definitely this is me one day. This is something that all of mankind has in common. Rich, poor, young, old, right? So it's essential that we get familiar with death. And it's essential that we become comfortable with the concept. The narrations on death are plentiful, and we do not have the time to bring them all now. Nor do we have the time to give a detailed workshop on death and barzakh, which we strongly recommend. We strongly recommend. But in our philosophy as Muslims, as we said, because you are an eternal being, brothers and sisters, please pay attention to me closely. Sallu ala Muhammad wa alihi. Because Islam teaches you that you are an eternal being. You are from Allah, by Allah, for Allah. This is what you are. And you were not created for this dunya. And that this dunya is one of the passages that you are passing through on the way to continue your eternal existence. So whatever you spend in this world, 50 years, 60 years, 70, 80, 90, 100 years, when compared to eternity, means nothing. Means nothing. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam describes this dunya as an ataba, yeah, which is the space at the end of the door between one room and another. This space which the door occupies, Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam describes life like this. He says, all you are doing is you have just passed through it. You just simply pass through it. So Islam wants to teach you that it is unwise. The messengers of Allah Ta'ala, the Imams alayhum salam, they come to awaken you to this reality and tell you it is unwise for you to over-invest in this temporary abode. Everything in it is temporary. Everything. Literally everything. Nothing is permanent from it. Whatever hardships you are going through, whatever heartache you are going through, whatever emotion, tragedy, test from Allah Ta'ala you are going through, if you submit to the reality that you are temporarily on this earth, then these problems, no matter how large they are, they become small. Very small and meaningless. What's the worst thing that can happen? You're going to die? If you understood death, that death was the beginning, then you would welcome it. So it's essential that we understand death is the door to Allah Ta'ala. It's the door to our life with Allah. As soon as somebody dies, what do we say? Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We belong to Allah and to Him we shall return. If you long for this return to Allah Ta'ala, then you welcome death with a smile. You welcome it with a smile. Just as our Imams alayhum salam did. When Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam is struck and he is certain of his demise, فُزْتُ وَرَبِّ الْكَعْبَةِ, I am victorious by the God of the Kaaba. As we said, the narrations on death are several. So I'm going to mention just a few, inshaAllah, just so we can have this understanding and concept with your salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. In a narration attributed to the Holy Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, irrespective of its sanad, but its madmun, its context is fine. The Holy Messenger, it is said in this narration, which is attributed to him, that he discusses the stages of your death. And it's a long narration, so I won't read it all, but we'll discuss just a few of them, inshallah, to scare the life out of you. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Just the angle's not right. Thank you, Sayyid. It says, إذا فارقت الروح من البدن نودي بثلاثة صيحات. As soon as the soul leaves the badan, leaves the body, it is called by three callings. يا ابن آدم, تركت الدنيا أم الدنيا تركتك? O son of Adam, did you leave the dunya? Did you choose to leave the dunya? Have you left by choice? أم الدنيا تركتك? Or did the dunya abandon you? An indication that, O son of Adam, look at how overly invested you were in it. And then when the time came, this dunya kicked you to the curb without any notice. You didn't choose to leave this dunya. It left you. أجمعت الدنيا أم الدنيا جمعتك? Did you collect the dunya and benefit from it, or did the dunya collect you and benefit you and steer you in whichever way it wanted? قتلت الدنيا أم الدنيا قتلتك? Did you kill this dunya, or did the dunya kill you? Were you able to kill the love of this world whilst you were in it, or did you die whilst you were chasing its pleasures, O son of Adam? Then it continues. وَإِذَا وُضِعَ عَلَى الْمُغْتَسَلِ نُودِيَ بِثَلَاثٍ. Now your soul has left you. And our narrations say that when the soul leaves you, it continues to hover over the body or around the body. It doesn't leave the body until you are buried. And you are aware, our ahadith say to us, you are aware, you hear, you see everything. You see your relatives around you crying and you're begging them, no, I'm alive, I'm here. Stop doing this, I'm still here, but they can't hear you. So now it says, now you are taken to the morgue, and you are placed on the bed to be washed. When you are placed there and you are watching your body, again the angels come, and from the tone of this narration, they come mockingly. وَإِذَا وُضِعَ عَلَى الْمُغْتَسَلِ نُودِيَ بِثَلَاثٍ أين بدنك القوي ما أضعفك؟ أين لسانك الفصيح ما أسكتك؟ أين أحباؤك ما أوحشك? O son of Adam, where is your strong body? How weak are you today? O son of Adam, where is your eloquent tongue? How silent you are today. O son of Adam, where are your loved ones? How lonely are you right now? Try and live these moments. وَإِذَا لُفَّ فِي الْكَفَنِ نُودِيَ بِثَلَاثٍ. And once he is wrapped in the shroud, he is called upon 3 times. تذهب إلى سفر بغير زاد. You are now off on a journey without any provisions. وتخرج من منزلك فلا ترجع أبدا. And you leave your home and you will not return to it ever again. You are never coming back home. This home that you worked so hard to build, that you worked so hard to maintain and to decorate, and you entertain those people in it, this home, you will never return to it, O son of Adam. In fact, from this moment on, somebody else owns it. It is no longer your property. We say in our jurisprudence that when you die, your wilaya, your authority over your belongings is eradicated. You no longer own your things anymore. They are owned by who? Your inheritors. Except for the tarika, this is a tafsil, yani the 1/3. But someone else owns them. In fact, some of our jurists say that if you are afflicted with maradul maut, by a disease which you are certain now that you are about to die from, then you have no right You have no authority over your belongings in this period. وتصير إلى بيت ما أهوى إليه وإذا حمل إلى الجنازة نودي بثلاث. And now you are carried in your janazah, they're carrying you, and they're walking towards your grave, your final abode. طوبى لك إن كنت تائبا وطوبى لك إن كنت تائبا وطوبى لك إن كنت تائبا. 3 times. Glad tidings to you if you are amongst those who were repentful. If you are amongst those who repented, glad tidings to you. طوبى لك إن صحبك رضوان الله. Glad tidings to you if the acceptance of Allah Ta'ala is your friend and joining you on this journey. الويل لك إن صحبك سخط الله. Woe unto you if it is the wrath of Allah Ta'ala which is accompanying you. وإذا وضعت الجنازة على شفير القبر نودي بثلاث. Now your body is placed on the edge of your qabr and they're getting your grave ready for you. يا ابن آدم ما تزودت من العمار لهذا الخراب. O son of Adam, have you brought with you any form of construction, any form of strong building for this destruction? Look at this destruction in the grave. It is mud and rocks, and soon soil will be poured over you. Have you brought anything with you to build this home? What have you brought, O son of Adam, with you from wealth for this poverty? The grave is poor, brothers and sisters. Especially Muslim graves. The inside of the grave is very poor. It's nothing. It's simply dirt. This wealth that you wasted your time collecting, that maybe, la samahullah, inshallah nobody here, but you disobeyed Allah Ta'ala in gaining this wealth that you feared giving for the sake of Allah Ta'ala. This wealth, has any of it been brought with you tonight, O son of Adam? Have you brought any of it with you to help you on this night in this grave? We fight and we argue with one another sometimes over this money, this wealth. Brothers and sisters do not talk to one another. Families are ripped apart because of inheritance and because of wealth and because of business. And at the end of the day, none of us take any of it with us. Yet we hold on to it like it's ours forever. Now we skip to the end, inshallah. وَإِذَا وُضِعَ فِي اللَّحْدِ نُودِيَ بِثَلَاثٍ يَا ابْنَ آدَمَ. Now he is placed in the grave and he is called upon 3 times. O son of Adam, كُنْتَ عَلَى ظَهْرِي فَرْحَانًا وَصُرْتَ فِي بَطْنِ حَزِينًا. The earth speaks to him and says, on my back, when you walked on my back, you were happy. Now you are alone and you are upset. وَكُنْتَ عَلَى ظَهْرِي ضَاحِكًا فَصُرْتَ فِي بَطْنِ بَاكِيًا. And you were cheerful and laughing on my back, and now in my stomach you are crying. وَكُنْتَ عَلَى ظَهْرِي نَاطِقًا وَصُرْتَ فِي بَطْنِي سَاكِتًا. You were very eloquent in your tongue. You used your tongue a lot. You spoke about others. You lied. You swore. You slandered. This tongue of yours was very active on my back. We say in Lebanese, it's as if the earth is saying to him, Ma'riftak. I don't recognize you. Are you the same one who was walking on my back, using this tongue eloquently? In another narration in this segment, وَكُنْتَ عَلَى ظَهْرِ تَأْكُلَ الْحَرَامِ وَالْيَوْمَ تَأْكُلَكَ الدِّيدَانِ. On my back, you would eat haram, whether it is literally haram food or food bought with haram money, or even eating of haram, eating the flesh of your brothers and sisters whilst backbiting. Today, the earth is reminding you, today, it is the worms of the earth that eat you today. The last part is the scariest. It then says Allah Ta'ala speaks to you and addresses you, and He says, Abdi, baqita wahidan farida. Our narrations say to us that once the soil fills your eyes, you can still hear. The last sense to go away is the sense of hearing. You can still hear the last of your friends and relatives walking away from your grave. We say, راحوا ياكلوا لحم بعجين. They've gone now to eat. They've gone to your house to eat your food. With your money, your family has made food in your honor. Everyone has now gone to eat this food. Our narrations say you can hear them walking away. According to this narration, Allah says to you, عَبْدِ بَقِيتَ وَحِيدًا فَرِيدًا وَتَرَكُوكَ فِي ظَلَمَةِ الْقَبْرِ وَقَدْ عَصَيْتَنِ لِأَجْلِهِمْ. These people, Allah is saying, you see them that have now left you all alone, all by yourself. For these people, you transgressed against me. For these people, you disobeyed me, so that they may laugh, so that they may accept you, so that you may be cool and fit in. So you do not accept them, so that they accept you and do not shun you, to keep them pleased. These people who have abandoned you tonight, on the most fearful night of your existence, for these people you disobeyed me, you transgressed against me. وَقَدْ عَصَيْتَنِ لِأَجْلِهِمْ وَإِنْ عَصَيْتَنِ لِأَجْلِهِمْ لَأَرْحَمَنَّكَ أَبَدًا وَأَنَا أَشْفَقُ عَلَيْكَ مِنَ الْوَالِدَ بِوَلَدِهَا. Allah Ta'ala, according to this narration, is saying that if it is because of them or for their sake that you have disobeyed me, that you put your religion and your relationship with Allah Ta'ala at risk, you jeopardize this relationship for the sake of people, and it can be for something as simple as making an inappropriate joke, just so your friends can laugh, or taking a stance which is oppressive because everyone else is doing it and you don't want to feel left out, or joining a fad just so you can fit in with society, talking in a particular manner, walking in a particular manner, dressing in a particular manner, just so society and your friends can accept you. Allah Ta'ala is saying to you that, you know what? If it is because of these people and for these people, according to this narration, that you have disobeyed me, then I will not have mercy on you at all. And I am the most merciful, and I am more merciful on you than a mother is on her child. But because we know in the Holy Quran, Allah Ta'ala, He says that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala forgives all sins except for shirk, making partners with Allah Ta'ala. When I have chosen to disobey Allah Ta'ala so that I may please people, this, according to our narrations, is a form of shirk. This is something that you must be cleansed of. But now let's end it on a brighter note. We said that death is the door to the akhirah. Very quickly, because they signal that I have 5 minutes. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I'm going to take 7 minutes each. Because death is the beginning of the akhirah. As the Holy Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa ali says, The one who dies amongst you, his qiyamah begins, his judgment begins, and he will see his place in the akhirah. And we don't have time to go into the details of barzakh. Because this is the beginning of our journey towards the akhirah, then within this death there is glad tidings, there is beauty. You see all of these hardships that we spoke of, and all the hardships that we have in our narrations, right? About sakaratul maut, the pains of death, and about the trouble on the first night of the grave, and all of that fear, and the punishment of barzakh, and the nightmares of barzakh. All these are true. What is also true is the promise of the most true. The promise of he who loves you the most. The promise of he who stands on the day of judgment looking for his Shia to separate them from the rest of the flock. The promise of Asadullah al-Ghalib, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. Man mata minkum ra'ani. The one who dies from amongst you will see me. One of my teachers, he says, the face of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, in that microsecond before it leaves your soul leaves your body. This microsecond, seeing the face of Ali alayhi salam is awwal al-bashair. It is the first sign of good news. The hadith says that upon the death of a believer, as his soul is leaving his body, not only Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam attends to him. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Salli ala Muhammad. Sayyidah Zahra alayha salam and all of the Imams in one narration, they attend to the death of the believer. But at the very least, it is unanimous across the board that we see Amir al-Mu'mineen's face alayhi salam. And we see the Holy Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa. Here is the beautiful part. My teacher says, he says, you know, in the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, when the woman see the face of Yusuf and his beauty, they are so taken aback by the beauty of Yusuf salamullahi alayhi that they cut their fingers without even noticing. They don't feel any pain. It's only after Yusuf has left the room alayhi salam that they notice they have cut their fingers. He says it is as if the face of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam has the same effect for the pains of the qabr and the adhab and the terrors of the grave. That when I see the face of Ali alayhi salam, I know that whatever happens from here on, I am fine. I am okay. What is going to happen is necessary. But I saw the face of Ali alayhi salam. It implanted in my heart that serenity. It implants in your heart that peace of mind. It reassures you that it is as if Amir al-Mu'mineen is saying to you that yes, I understand what you are going to go through now is difficult. It is hard. However, I'm waiting on the other side. I'm waiting for you on the other side. These are things you must go through because you are sinful in this dunya. Allah Ta'ala is not going to leave you unjudged. There are things that you must be cleansed of before you enter into the purified presence of Allah Ta'ala. This is the akhirah. Just as one cannot enter the masjid if he is impure, he cannot enter into the eternal presence of Muhammad wa al-Muhammad if he is not been purified. But there is a condition to seeing the face of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. And this condition of being a Shi'i of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam is not that I just give lip service to this. All of you know this already. There are conditions for tashayyu'. And the conditions is that I abstain from that which Allah Ta'ala has forbade. And I uphold that which Allah Ta'ala has made an obligation. And I hold on to the word of Allah Ta'ala and onto the household of the Holy Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And I hold on to the akhlaq of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. There are conditions for this shafa'ah. Salat is a condition of this shafa'ah. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam says, don't come looking for me if you are someone who is wishy-washy with his salat. Imam al-Rada alayhi salam, he says, Laysa minna. When our Imams say, Laysa minna, he is not from us, it means this person should not come seeking our intercession on the Day of Judgment if he does such an act. ليس منا من لم يهتم بأمور المسلمين من أصبح ولم يهتم بأمور المسلمين. The one who goes to sleep or the one who wakes up, in another narration, and he is not concerned with the affairs of the Muslims, he should not come looking for Ali ibn Musa Rida alayhi salam on the Day of Judgment seeking his intercession. So we need to look for the keys of these intercessions and we need to hold on to them, because death is true. Death is coming. Make this death the beginning of your Jannah and the beginning of your journey towards Allah Ta'ala and not your destruction. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم واهلك عدوهم. اللهم إنا نرغب إليك في دولة كريمة تعز بها الإسلام وأهله وتذل بها النفاق وأهله وتجعلنا فيها من الدعاة إلى طاعتك والقادة إلى سبيلك وترزقنا بها كرامة الدنيا والآخرة بمحمد وعترته الطاهرة صلواتك عليه وعليهم أجمعين. أحسن الله إليك.
Brothers and sisters, please be seated just for a moment. We wanted to make a few announcements. First and foremost, on behalf of AMA and the LYC, we wanted to thank the brothers and sisters of these communities for joining us for these nightly programs for these past 2 weeks. Truly, we do work very, very hard to create these programs and cater them to the brothers and sisters, especially the youths of these communities. So we wanted to say, Jazakumullah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all and accept your a'mal throughout this holy month. Secondly, of course, none of this is possible without any of the volunteers. On behalf of LYC and AMA, I wanted to personally thank our beloved Al-Mustafa and his team, as well as the management committee, Samahat Shiekh Murtada Bachu and Sheikh Asad Darsi. Truly, without all of your help and all of the immense work that the brothers and sisters do, the sisters in the kitchen on a nightly basis, the younger youth and the younger teams for doing everything that they can to make these programs as engaging as possible. Truly, your thawab and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is huge. And lastly, of course, we wanted to thank the esteemed Sheikh Moutaz for joining us these past 2 weeks. Maulana, you have truly illuminated our hearts and enlightened our minds with your lectures these past 2 weeks. I know that the feedback has been amazing throughout the community. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you make it back home to your family, bkhair wa afiyah, inshaAllah, and that you not forget us in your du'as, this entire community. We hope, inshaAllah, in the future that we're able to invite you back, inshaAllah, Rabbil Alameen. Everyone, please give me a very large, loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad for Samahat al-Sheikh.
What am I supposed to say? You said everything. On behalf of AMA, we truly thank you, Sheikhna, for enlightening us and giving us your wisdom throughout our community, and especially the viewers online. We really thank you so much. Inshallah, you have a safe journey. Sheikh does have a Arba'een trip, a Hamla. So if those who are interested in going in that journey for Arba'een, just please visit his Instagram page. We will definitely share it on both Instagram pages, inshallah ta'ala. let us all please rise for ziyarat, inshallah. Or one more announcement. Sorry. Brother, I mean.
Assalamu alaikum. I was just asked to give a quick reminder about our Quran Hifz program. So inshallah, the memorization competition that we have will start tomorrow for 2 weeks. For those who have not registered yet, please go back to our announcement and you can still register. And inshallah, there's a WhatsApp community group that we are sharing more details, inshallah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Inshallah, tomorrow, from tomorrow onwards till the day of Eid, we'll be having Samahat Sheikh Murtada Bachu, starting at 7 p.m. inshallah with Dua al-Iftitah, the Quran Circle, and basically how the regular programs have been this past week, inshallah. Let us all please rise for ziyarah.
السلام عليك يا رسول الله. السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدتي نساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله الحسين ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي. السلام عليك يا مولانا يا صاحب الزمان. السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن. السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان ورحمة الله وبركاته.